A very good evening and thank you so much for joining me on Uctv Bulletin. My name is Nora Sende to bring you the bulletin on this Monday the 15th of April 2024. Thank you so much for joining us. Today we start off here at the Secretariat with the national meeting held at the Uganda Catholic Secretariat ahead of the 3rd June Martyrs' Day celebration. Well, Father Emmanuel Ochokuro, the pastoral coordinator of Nebi Diocese, has called upon Christians to grow and learn from the Uganda martyrs ahead of this celebration.
As far as preparation for Namugongo is concerned, I'm heading the committee for pastoral and spiritual. And that is a committee that started work right from the time we got the message from the Uganda Episcopal Conference that we are the ones earmarked to lead Namugongo, to animate Namugongo celebration this year. We started our program on the 10th of July last year with the formation of the committees, and on the 31st of July it was officially commissioned by the bishop. Our first responsibility has been the sensitization of the Christians to help them know the task that has been assigned to Nebi, and I'm glad to say that the parishes, the parish priests, and the pastoral councillors have done quite a good job, and through the Christian communities, they have made all our Christians aware of what is taking place in as far as preparation for Namugongo is concerned. The news was received with a lot of excitement because Nebi lastly animated Namugongo in 2007, and at that moment it wasn't a very big thing yet, but this time it is quite a big function, and so it requires quite a lot of money, and so with the sensitization people have come to know that it is their responsibility to make that contribution, and I'm glad to say up to now, at least our poor people at home in the parishes have managed to raise quite a lot of money. Of course, a certain amount was levied on each parish. Some have already completed their contribution, what was levied on them. Others are struggling, but we have set a deadline the end of this month of April. I'm very sure that even those who are still struggling will have finished, because all of them have already done more than half of what was levied on them. Meanwhile, the spiritual preparation still goes on through the Christian communities. We are holding prayers, we are reflecting on the Uganda matters, and actually we have 20 parishes and 2 sub-parishes being prepared for parishes. And we have 22 martyrs of Uganda, those who died in whom we had been celebrating in Namugongo, plus the 2 others of Paimol in Gulu. So there are 24 martyrs. We assigned each martyr to each parish. To our community in Kampala, we assigned the 2 martyrs of Paimol, Daudi Ukelo and Gildo Irwa. And I'm sure they are going on with the reflection on the lives of the 2 martyrs. We have considered the whole thing as a spiritual journey, really wanting our Christians to grow and learn something from the lives of the martyrs. And that's why the theme for the celebration itself is an invitation to commitment in faith. And the theme has been taken from the book of Joshua, chapter 24, verse 15, where Joshua speaks to the people of Israel and says, "As for me and my household, we shall serve the Lord." I don't want to talk much about the context of that whole story of how Joshua came up with that statement. But otherwise, it was an invitation to the people of Israel to commit themselves to the Lord at a moment when people were engaged in idol worship, and he wanted them to worship the only true God. And so we want to take that as a commitment for us. We want our people in Uganda, people from all over the world who will celebrate that day with us, to know that Christian life calls for a commitment. You have to be committed to Christ, whatever the cause, like our Uganda Matters. They have been so much committed, even at the cost of dying, And that is a true lesson, a true teaching to us. And this is a message that we have been sharing with our Christians in the Navy, and we will want to share it with the whole world to know about the lives of the Uganda Matters. And I know the challenges are there, challenges of preparing such a big function. Right now, as we have been having the national meeting, the first national meeting, I think a lot will be sorted out and we shall be guided. We live far away from Kampala. We are over 430 kilometers away from Kampala. And only few of us managed to come for the Uganda Matters celebrations, maybe except those who are here in Kampala, who have been coming, going and attending the Matters Day. We need also their guidance, but otherwise the people at home feel that they should be part of this celebration. They have so much been challenged by the lives of the Uganda Matters, even as we shared it with the theme of the Matters. There is a prayer that was composed by the bishop. Many people are reciting that prayer of head. They are able to speak it, to say the prayer every day and even at their own individual moments. And what maybe I can tell our people is, let us be part of this celebration. If the message reaches you that you should contribute anything to support Navy, you're most welcome. But even if nothing is requested from you, be part of this celebration and be fed by the Word of God and to be inspired by the lives of the Uganda Matters.
The judiciary has held its ever-first National Court Day at Kololo Independence Grounds in Kampala. The president of the Uganda Law Society, Bernard Omundo, has commended the judiciary for the strides taken, but stressed that there is still a lot that needs to be done. The National Open Court Day, that ran under the theme, A People-Centered Approach to Justice, is to strengthen accountability, scale up stakeholder engagement, and sensitize court users.
My Lord, while these achievements have been significant, we also must answer the tough questions of the day. It is only in doing this that we create and think about lasting solutions that enable the judiciary to function better and meet the needs of our people.
This is the President, Uganda Law Society, Bernard Omundo, speaking at the first ever National Open Court Day at Kololo Independence Grounds in Kampala. According to him, there are still many questions that need to be answered, despite the significant achievements by the judiciary.
For the common man, omuntu wa bulijjo, and for those that practice before you, we appreciate these challenges. But we believe that in order to enhance judicial accountability, that you have continuously spoken about, it's also time for us to have a performance appraisal system to enhance accountability. To deal with case backlog, it's important for us to look at the alternative dispute resolution methods that you have also continued to speak to, but also more importantly, to also have a comprehensive case audit of the number of cases that we have.
To administer justice to litigants and strengthen public trust in the justice sector, the judiciary has held its first ever National Court Open Day that happened today at Kololo Independence Grounds. The event saw key members of the judiciary, including the Chief Justice Alfonso Wunyidolo, the State Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs Norbert Mao, judges of the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, and the 7 High Court divisions, all together in the same place.
My Lord, it's also important for us to answer some of these tough questions. Why does the criminal annual crime report say that mob justice cases have increased? Why does the justice needs report say that only 10% of Ugandans only go to the courts? What is happening to the 90%? Why do they not want to come to the court? We must reflect on these questions today, my Lord, as we discuss and as we listen to the people.
Ms. Livia Nambiru Mukasa, Executive Director LabCent, is a non-governmental organization that was established to provide significant linkages and collaboration framework for the legal aid services, says the judiciary still has a lot to do in regards to access to justice.
The high cost of accessing justice. The Uganda population remains generally poor and cannot afford costs involved in pursuing legal remedies, especially from the formal justice system, like courts of law. The notion that justice is for the rich is still evident in our society. The Hill Report of 2024 indicated that 93% of Ugandans have legal problems, but only 10% are able to go to formal courts. That is a cause for worry. One is left to ask why this is so. Of course, the answer partly lies in the cost incurred in filing fees, hiring legal services, transport, compounded by numerous adjournments and delays.
With the majority of the youth being affected by the issues related to access to justice, she calls for the judiciary to have justice of quality rather than quantity.
The criminal justice system, especially courts, are overwhelmed by case backlog, oftentimes fueled by limited human resource and unnecessary adjournments. Additionally, sometimes the delayed disposal of cases is due to absenteeism of judicial officers from duty without notice, limited requisite skills, as well as elements of laziness, where some individuals delay to fast-track cases. The majority who are affected, my Lord, are the youth, who are the biggest percentages in prisons. The prison population stands at 77,592. This has made many to resort to settling for available remedies like plea bargaining, even when they don't qualify, making justice look more of a quantity than quality.
According to Justice Geoffrey Chiriabwire, a justice of the Court of Appeal of Uganda, it says that this first open day is to help the public understand what the court does. The Court of Appeal is the second highest court in the land. While presiding over matters, it's duly constituted when it consists of an odd number and not less than 3 justices in the Court of Appeal.
As you know, the Court of Appeal is one of the courts which is superior in Uganda. So, we have the magistrates' courts, which are really more amongst the people. But we also have the High Court, and we also have the Court of Appeal and then the Supreme Court. So what does that mean? It means that the Court of Appeal is the second highest court in Uganda. So the only court which is higher than the Court of Appeal is the Supreme Court.
It is this court that constitutes itself into a constitutional court in accordance with the Constitution to hear constitutional cases. He says there are also the Constitutional Court of Uganda that handles matters, issues or cases concerning the interpretation of the Constitution.
So basically what happens, for example, if you had a case in the High Court and you lost the court and we lost the case, and you feel that you should have won the case, you want it to be appealed, then you will appeal it to the Court of Appeal. That is what we call a fast appeal. But it is also possible that you may have had a case, for example, in the Chief Magistrate's Court, and the appeal would have gone to the High Court of Uganda. And you may have, for example, lost in the Magistrate's Court, and then you may have won in the High Court. But the person who won in the Magistrate's Court still feels that they should have been the winner, so they can now appeal to us. That is what we call second appeal. So we try to correct decisions. We're a correctional court. If you see that the court has made a mistake, then we try to correct that that decision.
The procedure powers and jurisdiction of the Court of Appeal are regulated by the Court of Appeal rules, and this comes with challenges, as he explains.
We are also the Constitutional Court of Uganda. What does that mean? It means that if there is a constitutional matter a matter that has been provided for in the Constitution of Uganda 1995. And people do not understand what that item is about. For example, should this be there or should this not be there? I think recently you may have heard of a case that the Court of Appeal, the Constitutional Court decided on, the case of whether the Anti-Homosexuality Act should or should not be there. So we are the court which made the decision that yes, some of the provisions of the Act are wrong according to the Constitution, but the rest of the Act is correct. So that is what we do.
He, however, encourages the users of the Court of Appeal to use mediation.
We see many people who want to come to us, but because they have to go through many stages to reach us, they find that they don't have enough money, they give up easily. And therefore they think that the court system is not working for them. And we are trying to encourage them that even if you don't have a lawyer, you can come to us, we can arrange and see how we can help you to represent yourself. That is one. Secondly, we do not have the full manpower that the court is supposed to have. Right now, we have just been allowed by the Parliament to have 35 justices of the court. But on the ground, we are only 11. So there's a lot more work we want to do, but we don't have enough manpower. We have now opened up mediation in the Court of Appeal, which means that even if you have a decision and you still want to discuss and negotiate, we can help you so that you can have a win-win resolution of your dispute.
Nora Osende, UCTV News. The government is set to launch its first National Physical Development Plan this Wednesday. While making this announcement, the Minister for Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Judith Nabakoba, appealed to all Ugandans and stakeholders to embrace and support the long-awaited and overdue development plan.
The National Physical Development Plan provides the analytical parameters for the planned allocation, use and management of the country's land and other physical resources. The plan is intended to serve as a framework through which the special allocation of investments, as well as planning and management of resources, are guided at the national level. Whereas the National Physical Development Plan was approved by the Cabinet in November last year, it is set to be launched on April 17th of this year by Her Excellency the Vice President of Uganda, Jessica Alupo, at the Presidential Office in Kampala. According to the Lands Minister Nabakoba, the plan will enhance an increment in the agriculture sector productivity, preventing degradation of natural resources, among other benefits, as she expounds.
It is paramount to note that the National Physical Development Plan, which is 2021 to 2040, will enable Uganda to achieve the following. 1. Increased productivity in agriculture with agro-processing industries and to export markets via transport corridors. Properly serviced industrial sites on infrastructure corridors connected to the actual places where there is production to give the massive boost to industrialization. Urban areas will prosper in the above pattern and become engines of economic growth. To act as a guide in safeguarding the protected areas and avoid degradation of our natural resources.
Nabakoba went ahead and highlighted on how the government intends to implement the National Physical Development Plan.
Implementation of the National Physical Plan will occur through the concerted efforts of all program development partners, NGOs, and civil society. The National Physical Development Plan is now in place. It puts in place a platform where regional, districts, and local physical plans have a framework of national development to fit into, which also aligns with the National Development Plan. Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development will be responsible for ensuring that these physical plans are prepared and reflect the spatial principles and strategies for the National Physical Development Plan and the National Development Plan. It is therefore very important to have a wider and comprehensive representation from all development actors, and all sectors are requested to coordinate to ensure successful implementation and sustainability of the National Physical Development Plan.
She concluded by inviting all the stakeholders' support in the implementation of this long overdue program.
We therefore call upon every actor in the development agenda to support the implementation of this long overdue and launch, which is going to take place on Wednesday of 17th this month. We are awaiting for your presence as we launch the National Physical Development Plan.
Joseph Kabbah, UCTV News.
The former Forum for Democratic Change presidential candidate, Dr. Kizza Besigye, has accused the government of crippling the local business sector through unfair taxations. Now, while addressing a press conference held at Katonga Road offices in Kampala earlier on today, Besigye stated that there is no need for the business community to meet the president because he is the prime source of their grievances.
Last week, business activities in Kampala downtown, particularly in Nabugabo, were paralyzed as some traders opted to close their shops in protest over various concerns regarding their business operation. That include issues to do with the tax policies and their implementation. For example, the enforcement of electronic fiscal receipting and invoicing solution (IFRIS), which traders allege they lack sufficient sensitization about. The strike prompted the authorities to arrange a meeting between the traders and the president on Friday, which was unprecedentedly cancelled upon unknown reasons. Since then, the traders are threatening to resort back to peaceful protests starting tomorrow, the 16th of April. While speaking to journalists today, Dr. Kizza Besigye stressed that the traders meeting with the president is a wrong attempt in addressing their plight because he is the prime source of their grievances.
They had started an activity, then they had a rumor that Mr. Museveni was going to meet them. And they they said, okay, now we are going to get a solution. They abandoned the activity. When they went, he said, we don't know anything about you. Now they are back, saying, no, nobody's caring about us, they are back. They are not. You cannot get a solution from the problem itself. How can you? The problem is where they are going, where they hope they will get a solution. You can't. They don't get it up to now.
According to Besigye, it is not specifically the business community that is suffering the brunt of what he refers to as a crisis, but the whole country is immersed in the shackles of unfair government policies.
This crisis in business will not go away and is not limited to business. It is across the board of the country. Everybody is on the wall. Whether you are a farmer, including even the cattle keepers, they are on the wall because no acaricide works, no medicines are all fake, and you end up with the disease problem that we have in the animal industry, foot and mouth disease, I don't know, ECF, I don't know which ones, all crippling the animal industry.
It is on this ground that invited the traders and other change-interested groups to join and make a collective effort to change the political leadership of Uganda, as he explains.
For business, Ugandan business, to benefit Ugandans in a meaningful and sustainable way, there has to be a change of the system. It's not just saying now we are forgiving you this, today we are doing this, this tinkering around the edges will not solve these problems. This is why I invite the business community and all other elements of organized groups in our country, whether they are farmers association, whether they are, entertainment industry, whatever you are engaged in. We all need to link up and change the system. The system must be overhauled completely. A system that depends on a partnership between a family and foreigners. That's the system that controls our country. Partnership between a family and foreigners must end. And it won't end by just having a meeting. We must all unite. We must all take a collective decision together to say enough is enough.
Joseph Kabbah, UCTV News.
The Opposition National Economic Empowerment Dialogue has tasked government to enact a law stopping manufacturers from involving in retail business. While addressing journalists at the party headquarters in Rubaga today, Moses Matovu, the party spokesperson, lauded government efforts to improve industrialization and asked the government to enact a law prohibiting industries from opening retail outlets.
Well, we want to appeal to government, particularly Minister of Trade and Industry, I think that's the ministry under which that thing falls, to enact, to come up with a law that will hinder or bar the manufacturers from engaging into, should I call it trading? Because we find the manufacturers at different levels. One, the level of distribution, you find them at the level of wholesale and at the retail stage. So these three stages should be managed by these are actually local traders, not the investors. The investors' role is to manufacture. Then the locals here to distribute, to open up those big shops, the wholesale shops, and retailing these goods. Otherwise, that interference in the normal trading affects our local traders, yet they are obliged to pay a lot of taxes. Unfortunately, the so-called manufacturer or investor, they are just enjoying tax holidays. They have been exempted from taxation for something like 10 years. So that is being unfair. So we want the government or parliament to come up with a law that will hinder the manufacturers from engaging in the normal trading or business.
Well, it's now time for Today in History. Thank you so much for watching UCTV News. Let's take a quick break. When we return, it's the Rome Report.
UCTV, good news for all.
Catch incredible stories of resilience, success.
You can manage that money.
With a topping of inspiration.
Get interested in people, not interested in yourself.
Inspire, achieve, repeat.
You are watching UCTV, good news for all. For this and more, tune in to Kasese Get Radio 100.5 in Western Region, located at the hill of the Diocese of Kasese. KGR brings you all Catholic programs and an advertising platform in all our radio shows like Good Morning Renzori, Chama Tohoka, Ukute, the business show, Propeller, the request show and sports, Evaluation, Bahinga Bakuluka, Late Night Show, and many others. Our other services include Isuzu Tipa, a no car, public address system, live band, Omoke Kera, an audio recording studio, and outside live broadcast. For more information, call 0773-597-166 or visit our website www.kasesegatradio.com. Kasesegat Radio, Omusondoria, the voice of truth.
UCTV, good news for all.
Now in sports tonight, the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Mong, has today led a Parliament team, including Honorable Matthias Mpuga, to inspect works to Mandela National Stadium. The Speaker was taken on a guided tour by army officials, supervised by the Sports Minister, Peter Ogwang, and was satisfied by the works done by the Uganda People's Defence Forces Engineering Brigade. According to her, Parliament will conduct a forensic audit. She also asked Honorable Mpuga to take time and properly tour the facility and report to Parliament on areas that need improvement.
Giving you is additional 17 million is what you're getting on your account today. The issues that you've raised have been all addressed according to what you have said. All the issues have been addressed apart from one, the pioneer buses. Isn't that so? And if that is the only one, we have floodlights, whether it means hiring or whichever. So we are going to have Honorable Minister right back in 2 weeks to the CAF Secretariat, inviting them to come and reassess what they saw last time and make sure that we host CAF and definitely host AFCON. That will be a good thing for Ugandans. You will have done Ugandans as a sports minister the best thing by hosting AFCON. It comes with a lot of advantages. And we shall be proud of you, Minister of Sports. And I am happy that the First Lady, Mama, is very, very passionate about this project. And let's make sure that we make Ugandans happy with this project. And then the monies are taken out of the country. But if we can empower our own people, our own Ugandans, and the money remains in Uganda, and that money goes back into circulation in the country, that would be the best for this country. And where you cannot be able to do what you're given to do, get specialists. I'm happy that you have got specialists, these young people here. You've gotten specialists. What you've done, I may not be able to see everything, but I have a representative here. Honorable Mpuga Matthias is the Commissioner of Parliament. I will leave Honorable Mpuga go around and see everything and write a report and report to the House. And Honorable Mpuga with the Honorable Ogwang, we need a report on the vacant possession. We are not in a garage. No. This is not a garage, because if you start parking buses, trailers, whichever here, then there will be a problem. Let's have our clean, smart stadium. And we should have it as soon as yesterday. By the time I came now, I even thought they had left. I was surprised when I looked down, I saw the scrap.
Well, that's all we had for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching UCTV News. I am Nora Osende from the entire team, and I do have yourself a great evening and good night.